If you enjoy this video, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. With that being said, hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Matthew, and today we're taking a look at not one, not two, but three giant apes. The eighth wonder of the world himself, King Kong. Or just Kong as he's called because of the public domain, universal pictures and all that stuff, whatever. It's a complicated history. Long story short, this is a public domain version of Kong that utilizes it. I'm not saying MonsterVerse is public domain, but this is a thing that, whatever. Three Playmates figures that take the same crack at the same ape, just different movies. Kong Skull Island, Godzilla vs. Kong, and Godzilla Kong the New Empire. We're going to be comparing these giant apes in 7 different categories: sculpt and paint, articulation, size, accessories, price, availability, and packaging. And we're just going to be going through the works. So with that being said, let's dive right in. So, okay, we're going to be trying this a little differently because of how big all these figures are. I actually spread out the camera backwards, and you're going to have to see a bit of my boxes here. Don't worry, this is just the Diamond Select Gallery Diorama with 93 statue box, but... Oh no, this is 91, forgive me. Anywho, these Kongs, first up, we're going to go with Sculpt and Paint. Which, first up, we're going to take a look at this Kong, which is the, technically speaking, the oldest one. Both literally and figuratively, because this is the 2017 version. This one I have is the original release. So not the reissue with like the different color scheme, including the updated guns. No, the original. So for the original, we actually have some painted eyes, which are actually probably the best painted of the bunch, honestly, because it's got like a nice glossy orange finish with some black pupils, which make it a little bit more, I guess, realistic, quote unquote, with a nice gray spray, dark kind of gray spray for the overall skin. And we have some more skin tones for like the brown here, and some more like black grayish ears that are actually really well detailed. And speaking of the detail, the fur is actually, again, really well done. I like the kind of pattern we got going on here, and actually kind of feels the best, like it should be as far as fur goes. The mouth is painted alright. We have one big strip of pink paint that goes from the roof of the mouth where it meets the teeth down to the tongue where it meets the teeth. And the teeth paint is just pure one color, the bone white, and you can kind of even see like the gum line is also painted white, even though the reissue does have updated gums with paint. Mine's got a little nick, you can kind of see it on the tip of my finger. Don't know if that was because of transportation, because my family went on a trip, got these suckers, and then came back with them. But we also have some nice teeth sculpt here as well. Although my bottom teeth, I think it's like this on all units, but I don't like how these teeth are sculpted because they look flattened and less like this, where it should be a bit more upwards, but they all just look kind of, well, front. And that's it for the face, really. So nice, angry, pissed off looking expression. For the chest, we have some nice spray here for the pecs. Looks really nice. Nice sculpting work for the overall shape, because we kind of have like a black outline for the chest. So it's like a nice little black spray. Stops kind of like where, the belly button's right down here. So it stops like where, I guess like midway through the 6-pack, which would be like right around here. And then we have the painted on scars, which I kind of would have preferred if they were sculpted on rather than just painted. But probably of the bunch, they're probably the best painted of the whole Kong line we're taking a look at so far. But we do have a nice gray to black spray with white paint to really make it a bit more defined. And then from here on out, the rest of the body, minus the fists and the feet, are going to be entirely made of brown. And it is worth noting that, yes, screw holes, not really like against these screw holes, because whatever, because like I kind of grew up with toys that had screw holes, so I don't really care about these. But it is worth noting out, because I do know that they have their negativity towards us, some people. We have some like rugged fur. That looks pretty nice, really accurate to the film. We have some nice sculpted fur on the legs, especially. For the arms, we have some nice sculpting work here. Definitely really well done as far as like the fur pattern going down here, then to the fist, which this one's purely clenched, and this one is slightly open, and but no, there's nothing you can really use to like hold it. There's no like axe or like bone and chain propeller that this thing came with or comes with. So no, this thing is kind of useless. One thing I don't really like about the feet and the hands, more towards the hands, is that it just looks like they dipped part of the hand in and called it a day. Like they dipped it in black paint and boom. Even though I would expect a bit more of like a color like this, because that just kind of looks like he's almost wearing gloves. And we both know Kong don't wear gloves. Unless it's that one. But aside from it, I do like the brown color they chose. And overall, at least for the mold, I don't believe this took the Leonard Kong mold. If you don't know what the Leonard Kong, it's like the... Okay. It's like that giant 18-inch tall Kong that was released a few years back. It went really well with the Jack-specific Godzilla 2014 slash 2019, but it's 2014. So, I would say, for overall sculpt and paint, I like him. Focusing my camera back in. I like him. He's probably the most movie accurate to the source material of all these guys. And it's probably the most well... I wouldn't really say the most well executed because it could just use a little bit more paint. But aside from that, I think that this guy is probably, at least as far as sculpt and paint, my personal second favorite. You're going to see why. Next up, we've got my personal least favorite, the Giant Kong from GVK. Oh boy, here we go. And I'm just saying, oh boy, here we go, because of like the overall size of these freaking things keep bumping into each other. So why is this guy my least favorite? Well, for the face, I do like the design of the eyes. It's probably, again, not necessarily the most movie accurate, but probably the most well done. Because it's actually got like an iris and some slightly... Well, actually it does have yellow pupils. I don't know why I said slightly. And it also has some pretty decently sculpted in teeth. And you can actually kind of see a bit of like 3D with the teeth. And it even has like a bit of a snaggletooth, like a hanging out fang, which is an important feature of what would later be Scar King. Ooh. And also it features some nicely done, nicely painted scarring. It's not the best. I would have preferred sculpted again. And it even features some subtle gradations of black, as the pecs, arms, and toes are also a bit darker than the base skin color. That being said, that is it as far as paint goes. Yeah, this thing is entirely black. Just jet black. The Kong in the movie had a lot more, like a brown color, and a variety of those different browns, and I feel like that would have been a lot better as far as the fur detail is concerned. But here, the entire figure is just jet black. There's barely any variety, and the only reason I can tell there's multiple blacks is because of the light that I currently have on here. And I mean, I didn't just find this out. I've had this thing for at least several years now. But that is literally it. The scrolls, take them or leave them, I don't care. But at the very least, the sculpt is nice. We do have some nice pecs. We do have some nice fur detail, although they are not as defined as the Kong Skull Island figure. They're a bit more shallow with the detail, but again, it still looks fine. Clenched fist, but this time on the opposite end of the arm. The sculpt work on the legs is alright. The sculpt work on the feet is alright. And again, reversed of the fists, loosened up, and clenched fist. That's all good. However, it's just boring. Like, really, this is possibly, honestly, like, my least favorite of the Giants. And I currently own all 6. Well, not all 6. There's still quite a bit I'm missing. I'm missing 54, Mechagodzilla, Scar King, Shimo, and Mothra. But from the ones I currently have, this is honestly my least favorite. It doesn't really have, like, anything interesting going for it as far as, like, the sheer sculpt and paint is concerned. And even though that's, like, my general opinion about this figure, just seeing it next to them, it's honestly just got a lot of missed potential, especially because, also, I forgot to mention the beard is actually well, at least when I got it was actually kind of spiky. Yeah, there you go. It's kind of pointy. But still, honestly, jet black is just not the color for the 2021 Kong, and shouldn't even be really the color for Kong. I think that it's almost like they got confused for the silverback gorilla of 2005. You know that design? Yeah, it's almost like they confused that for this. MonsterVerse was always more colorful than that one. So that's the 20 lightly shove you out of the way. That's the sculpt and paint for that Kong. And of course, we're going to take the sculpt and paint section towards this guy, the big Kong from GVK, which I have to say is definitely the most vibrant and definitely the most colorful of the bunch, even though that's not really saying much given the competition. The eyes are painted about the same as the other ones, except it's not as glossy, and the application itself can be a bit hit or miss, especially on some other copies I've seen. But for this Kong, we actually have some nice applications that kind of upgrade from the 6-inch figure being a bit more cross-eyed. For the teeth here, we actually have some individually sculpted teeth. I would say the teeth are probably painted the best on this one. It's because we have like the smaller type canines here and the open mouth, which has just the overall best expression. Although not so much detail. I think this one has the better detail, but no, the nostril looks nicely painted, and the whole like front side is one big spray. Not too much going on with the ears, but we do have a bit of more kind of like grayer spray. And for the brown, we have like a bit of a more darker, it looks almost like dark chocolate, if that makes any sense. So yeah, it definitely kind of taps into that color scheme. Here we have some more like the ribs and kind of like the chest area where we have, just kind of hearing this so I don't break the shoulder by accident. We have a bit more of like the paint kind of coming down here with the gray. And it's like kind of more of like a gray spray, although it's not as clean looking as it should be. Like it definitely bleeds over to the fur, because like you can see the skin line where it meets the fur and it kind of goes over. That I'm not really a big fan of, especially when the 6-inch figure accomplishes that effect so much better. But we do have some of the painted scars, which for the first time we have like the additional scars that Godzilla gives him, even though by this logic he should be having like what, 4 or 5 rows of scars now. But whatever, continuity aside, this looks, again, all rightly painted. Wish it was sculpted in, but that's okay. Should be worth noting I have a few nicks on the brow I forgot to mention. But again, looks fine. Let's talk about the Beast Glove. The Beast Glove is actually, again, really well sculpted, and I do like how well it is detailed. We have a bit more of like the kind of paneling, like the gears, which are pretty well reflective, silver, paintish. And unlike the original 6-inch version, we also have paint on the inside of the arm, which is also nice. We had like the painted straps are painted silver, then we have like all the way around where it's painted yellow. This little part where it's just painted silver, this little gear that's painted silver. And overall, again, it just looks really well done. Like nice little, what may have you, straps. There's, I don't know why I didn't think of the word straps. But of course, for the gauntlet itself, nice kind of like vibrant yellow. It's not as vibrant as the 6-inch version, but it's still really good on its own. And because it's like a much scaled up figure, the detail really lends itself, because the 6-inch figure was already like detailed. This is definitely like the most detailed, I would say. Here we have like some more like the fur patterns here on him, and you can just kind of see like how well detailed like there is, because there's really like barely any places where they like intentionally smoothened out, minus like maybe here where they like intentionally did that just to smoothen out the articulation a bit. And we do have some nice like feet paint and hand paint, which are the correct color this time. So sheer paint would definitely be the best on this one. Again, I'll cover that in just a sec. I think it's the only Kong that doesn't have the has the hollowed out feet. Just to double confirm. Yep, only Kong to have hollowed out feet. There we go. And also has, again, the bolt holes again. Yay. Take it or leave it. Monkey booty. And yeah, more of the fur patterns. And I think that's kind of like relatively about it, because even though he has like 2 open hands, he can't really use anything. So realistically, It's just kind of down to who did it the best. And in my personal opinion, focusing the camera in, let's bring the whole like set back. There we go. My personal opinion, it's him. Straight up. While it is true that the Skull Island Kong has, in my personal opinion, the best consistency when it comes to the sculpt, because I will say the torso feels a bit more mellow than the arms do as far as sheer amount of detail. It's just, that's really not enough. And even though it technically would have the best scar, like the best looking scars, it again just doesn't really matter when you also got this thing, which has all of the paint and a good pose. Because this technically has like all the things that these two don't. An accurate color, even though this is kind of accurate, it's actually decently accurate. But this looks most spot on to its movie. Actually, I think I just kind of heckled him, whatever. It looks the best. There we go. Regardless of accuracy, in my opinion, this looks the best. A nice darker base with a lighter coat of color. I will say that just overall from an aesthetic appearance, it definitely looks the best. And even though these two, well, mainly him, he tries his best, he didn't really try at all. Like, let's be 100% real here. It's just solid black versus light gray and light brown and dark gray versus dark brown, light gray, and a mixture of other colors. Just in my personal opinion, I think that the GXK Kong wins this. Next up, we're going right to articulation, and I don't think this really requires any sort of explanation, but let's just go through it. So, first up is Kong 2017. He has a head rotation, which is not on a ball joint or hinge, unlike the 6-inch version, which was on a hinge. So he can only really turn left and right. I will say it's probably the most fluid swivel, although it doesn't really sound fluid. Trust me, it actually is. It like flows really nicely. For the shoulders, we have basic swivels, so you can kind of go up and down like that. No in and out, nothing at the elbow, but we do have a wrist swivel, and it is like that on both sides. For the hips, unlike the 6-inch version, we have basically unlimited 360 swivels, so you can pretty much go all the way around with them. As you can see there. Nicely done. And we have some swivels here at the feet. Which I should also add, definitely don't really add a whole lot as far as like sheer posability goes. But there, that's the 2017 Kong. And I probably just made him impossible for him to bounce correctly, because unfortunately one foot is standing farther than the other. Thankfully, this Kong is at a neutral stance, so I don't have to worry about him. So, for his articulation, the 2021 Kong, a head swivel. And when I first got mine, this guy was incredibly stiff. Like, you want to talk about stiff? This is like almost NECA Godzilla 2001 Atomic Blast out of the box stiff. Go back to my original unboxing if you haven't watched it, but whatever. Swivel for the head, swivels for the shoulders, then go all the way around, swivels for the wrists, same thing on both sides. Swivels for the hips, so you can kind of go all the way around like that. And swivels for the feet, trying to only move the foot. And it's like that on both sides. So overall, for the 2021 Kong, pretty much the same thing you're going to be getting with the 2017 Kong. Playmates decided to say, screw this, we're dialing this sucker up to 11. And what do we get? A ball jointed head. This should automatically tell you where the articulation is going at now, but we do have a swivel here, and we do have a ball joint. Granted, it's not a super unlimited ball joint like you see with NECA, SH Monster Arts, and Haya, but it's still great to see this sort of articulation on a Kong figure. Swivel hinge for the shoulders, so we can go up about that far, down about that far, and rotate all the way around. Swivel hinges for the elbow, this elbow, so we can go in about that far. Hold on. Oh, crap. Straighten out about that far. And can rotate basically all the way around. swivel for the wrist. This shoulder, we can go up about that far, down about that far, can rotate all the way around. This elbow, we can hinge in about that far, and go out of that about that far, and there's no rotation here or here. Legs, we can go up about that far, down about that far, can rotate, and if you bend it like this, we can kind of go to the split, and we can hinge with the knee out about that far and in about that far. No, there's no swivel at the foot, but I think the knee and leg articulation more than make up for it. So by a mere landslide, the giant 2021 Kong already wins this, because like this guy's got more articulation and more range, debatably, in his arms and legs alone than these two have in their whole bodies. That's how much of a slam dunk this is. So I think I can pretty much safely say I can just skip round 3 and 4, which is size and accessories, because even though he has the Beast Glove, that's not really an accessory, and because that's like permanently attached to him, you can't remove it. And technically speaking, none of these guys come with anything, and they're all about the same size. Even though scale-wise, he should be about up to yay high. But still, that's like movie scaling versus figure scaling. And if you want to be technical, none of these guys are really in scale because they're all too small. 337 feet, I believe, for Kong. Whatever. But with that being said, we can move right on to price. And I can automatically tell you that there is actually kind of a price difference. MSRP, these two are about the same at $20. Sounds good. He was actually about $25. So he's a tad bit more pricey than the others. Keep in mind, I'm going off US retail. So that means, basically speaking, all of these guys are 20, 20, 25. Walmart, Target, that's how much they would be. So, technically speaking, these two would be the cheapest, and availability are kind of all the same. Because, like, for a long while, all of these guys were, well, not all of these guys, but they were all sold at the same places. Walmart, Target, Toys R Us, if your country still has it. I don't know about Best Buy. I know they carry some form of collectibles, but I'm not too sure about them. But those are, like, the main three. Fourth, if you can squeeze in like comic shops and collectible stores and stuff, like those will have Godzilla and Kong stuff, but maybe not these ones in particular. But as of 2024, really, these guys haven't been really stocked up that much. He has, because he's the newest one. In fact, I literally just got him I think less than a week ago. So yeah, if there's any form of availability, it'd technically be him, but overall, they've all been sold at, pretty much the same stores. And I think that it can also perfectly segue into packaging, which, unfortunately, I don't have his box anymore. But, thankfully, I don't know how, but I meant to keep the Giant Kong 2021 box and the Giant Kong with Beast Glove 2024 box. Now, essentially, they're the same exact style of box. They're the same height. Well, it's about the same dimensions. I will say, the front part's a little larger on this one than it is here. And say what you will about the print. I like this print a lot more than I like that print, although I do have a bit of a soft spot for this print. But, the overall style guide. But yeah, this is just kind of the basic difference. They essentially came in all the same style packaging, although the Giant Kong Skull Island figure came in a much more stylistic brown box, as opposed to having its own unique style guide in comparison to its what would be later its successors. But essentially, that kind of wraps the whole thing up. I can't really determine an exact winner for who comes as far as the boxes are concerned, because other than the design of the box, they're effectively the same thing. Even at the front of the box, the little logo stuff, it's different, layout's different, and they're a little bit bigger on this one, and this one's smaller, and something like that. they're all essentially the same. So aside from that, it comes back down to the figure quality themselves and less about the categories. And I honestly have to say, as far as like third, second, first, third place would have to be the Giant Kong from 21. Now, okay, let's back up here a bit. While it is technically true that this guy has some unique aspects to him, being definitely having the most, I would actually debate the best, like, eye design overall. And I definitely like his facial expression a lot, being a little bit more like a pissed off looking Kong, like, oh, I have to face this stupid lizard again. I'm so done with lizards after living on a whole island of lizards. You know, it definitely does have that charm, but other than that, he, compared to the other Kongs, and I hate being negative, he's kind of bland. He's kind of weak. Like, sure, he's big, he's buff, but really, what does he have that these two don't? Really, it's just the face. Like, these two have the color variety, they have the paint, they have, well, these two are equal in posability. This guy just out of the whole water. But because of the basic posability and the lack of actual paint, because really the only effective paint on this thing is the scarring and the face. I even struggle to even say, like, even though there is a clear color difference, maybe on looking at it, maybe it's just the plastic, how it's smoothened out here but roughed up here. Like, that's basically all the paint. And honestly, I really feel like they could have done a lot better with this Kong. So even though I was a bit positive when I got it, and I'm still going to be positive even now, compared to the other Kongs, this is easily my least favorite and easily the weakest, which is ironic because this guy's supposed to be the strongest up until him, compared to him. And I just realized there's a fly in my room. Hi there, Mr. Fly. You are a feature of this video, I guess now. Yeah. So, anyway, that's about it for this Kong. Second place would have to go to the Skull Island Kong. Same kind of deal as before. Basic articulation. Not too much to him. Again, he's rather simplistic and basic. However, what makes him better than him, in my personal opinion, is just the color variety. You have a lighter brown, which makes him pop on the shelf. You have a bit of a more darker, lighterish gray. It's like mid-tone gray with some sprayed on pecs. And then you have some better painted eyes as far as like the overall application is concerned. Because that just looks like a cartoon. This actually looks more like have some depth to it. And even though that the teeth paint isn't, well, the teeth sculpt is actually done really well, minus the flat and down teeth, I will say overall it's probably like my favorite as far as like the sheer design of the whole face sculpt goes. And again, even though my biggest problem with the hands is that they just look like gloves or they were just dipped in oil or like black paint, of course, it still adds some form of variety. And I would even probably say again, like overall, it probably has the best, it's probably tied, if not a little less, for the best paint job. But obviously, we also have the articulation to take into account. And much like the Giant Kong from 21, it's just rather basic. However, the clear winner for me, it's going to be this one. And yeah, this guy completely blows these two like completely out of the water. His sculpt is amazing, at least for what you're getting, especially because like the 6-inch figure blown up, it's going to be pure amazingness. Because that figure is like one of the best sculpted Playmates figures I've ever seen. I don't know who sculpted that figure, but clearly they had a raise. It also has a lot of nice paint applications, although they're not the most cleanly applied, as you can kind of see. It definitely has a lot of like the best like paint work, especially like with the addition of the Beast Glove. I know it's a bit unfair to compare it because those don't have the Beast Glove, but this one does. But it just adds a lot more color variety, and especially when we're comparing it to our 6-inch counterparts, it definitely like seals the deal as far as like sheer amount of variety is concerned. And even like the pink in the mouth just looks a lot better than what came before. And even the teeth application is just better than both of them. And I think to really like top it off, the articulation was really like the biggest nail in the coffin. Even if it didn't have the superior paint to these two, it has the better articulation. It has the better posability. It has basically the best design, like visually, like lighter brown, sorry, lighter gray to darker brown, like this. This is how I want a Kong figure. And anytime I'm gonna pull down any of these guys, it's gonna probably be this one. But that's not to single these two out. For what these two are, they're fun, basic Kong 11-inch figures that I feel like anyone who wants a large King Kong figure will want and they can get. Maybe like $30 on the aftermarket. I'm gonna guess that's how much. I haven't really checked the aftermarket sales for these two yet. But again, for what they are awesome figures overall. But again, in my personal opinion, the best one is undisputably this one. But with that being said, maybe this one isn't your favorite. Maybe you prefer this one for some reason, or maybe you prefer this one, or maybe you prefer the smaller 6-inch, or maybe you prefer the mega roaring ones, or even maybe you might prefer that giant Titan sized version of this guy. Maybe. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you guys liked it, definitely subscribe to the channel. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace, everyone.